terrarium chores and planting more plants. Let's do it together. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose. This is Mickey in his new pole. Okay, getting head kicked. Thanks, Mick. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a plant lover from the Netherlands, and in this video I'm going to show you my terrarium and do some chores in it. Mickey is not going to help at all today. He's just going to chill in his new tree that we made. We made a climbing tree for them, and this fabric is the softest you have ever felt. So I'm so glad Mickey appreciates it and is taking a nap already. Ah, here we are. There's unfortunately some plants that are very unhappy, some situations that are not working. So we're gonna change that today. I broke off the little thing of the door, so now it's a little bit harder to open, but here we go. There are some things that are working really well. So the queen is quite happy. It's working on a new leaf right there. So that's great. Here you can see some of the dead plants, but some of the smaller ones are growing well. This orchid looks really happy. Little Nepenthes calodictyum. Surprisingly, the alocasias are also doing really well in here, which I thought it would be too wet, the ground. Even the silver dragon back here is growing really well. This guy is so stunning. This is my Labicea pumila that I got from my friend Sander. The moss is green and growing. There's begonias. There's some new begonias as well. I'll explain those a little bit later. Alfonso actually grew a beautiful inflorescence. The mister switched on because I have the doors open. Matthew the Metallicum grew this leaf. This is the first new Antherium leaf in the terrarium, and I just noticed this morning the mist is messing up my focus, but there's another leaf here that already is grown. So this guy has grown 2 leaves in the time that all the other Antheriums have grown nothing. Down here it's also looking very nice. The Calatheas are still very alive. The Margravia, this is all new growth, this whole bit. The Syngonium as well. There's just a lot of new growth down here. It seems like the crawlers are doing well. The Begonias are doing well. So down here is pretty good, but up here is where the issue is. This orchid, for example, just has 0 soil and support. It's very wobbly. We need to fix that. In this thing, there's 2 Anthuriums, one on each side, one there and one there. But the moss, I think it's drying out way too quickly. I just sprayed it, so it's now wet. But the plants are dying on either side. At the top as well, that's a full moss thingy, and the plants have all died. So I'm going to take all the moss out of these things and then put some soil in, which will stay wet longer, moist. And then hopefully we won't dry out all the plants. There's also one up there that we need to take out. It's just a lot of stuff that we have to do. Let's go. These are the plants I took out. Here you can see this poor little, it's a Doriaki, I think, or silver blush, that's it. This does not look very happy, although there are some fresh roots here, so I'll have to be careful with taking it out. I don't know what went wrong with this one, but the leaves were drying out. Maybe it was too warm in there. I think I'm gonna take off the dead leaves and then pop it in my Antherium prop box so that it has the perfect conditions to hopefully come back, because I think it still can. The stem is still solid. The other one, where is it even? It's hiding somewhere. Oh, this used to be my Antherium villanorum. That was up high and it was getting a lot of light and especially a lot of warmth. I think there's still some green in there, so we can try and rescue it. This is the Luxurians Radicans hybrid that also looks very sad since I put it in the terrarium. So we'll have to investigate what is wrong with this one. Maybe it just lost all the roots because I don't see any healthy roots, but I do see a new little growth point. So we're just gonna rescue these and pop them in the prop box. For the orchid, I think I'm going to try and create a better, more stable situation so that it can continue growing, because it did grow new leaves. Those weird funky ones are all new leaves. You can see them there as well. And this creates very cute flowers. So this was a flower in a seed pod. Hopefully that can come back. I put moss around the root ball and then some fish wire to keep the moss in place. And now we're just, I think, gonna pop it up here. Maybe it will stay a little bit better than it was before. This out is very stingy. What is the name again? Cryptanthus, I think. But this was growing in a place where it was too dry. It was getting very, very dried out at the top of the moss wall. So I'm gonna plant that somewhere else because the other one is doing better. I also took out all of the well, not all of them, but a lot of the Tradescantia because I want to create that space for the begonias now. I got some new begonias in, and these can go in a different pot. This was the very cute orchid, jewel orchid, that unfortunately got not very happy. I think it got too dry and then too wet, and I tried to rescue it, but there is no rescuing this. This is very dead. All right, time to set up my repotting station and check out the little roots on all of these Antheriums. I'm just taking away all the moss and checking if the roots are alive or not, taking away all the dead leaves as well, and then just placing them to the side until I'm ready to pot them up. Then I grabbed some nice see-through pots to put the Antheriums in. Some of them still had some leaves, but most of them actually didn't have any leaves left. I have no idea if they will make it or not, but we will see. Let's just water the repotted plants, always important. I hope this will come back. It does not look like it. These two, I have not a lot of hope. We're gonna pop the Antheriums in my Antherium box, which is up here. And a little bit harder to get because the roof needs to, here we go. I'll give you a sneak peek into these in another video that will be called prop boxes. Oh my god, the queen made an amazing leaf. I could not give you a close-up, so this is the crystallinums. This is the queen. There's a little leaf there and a new growth point on the other side as well. Reggie the Regale baby is very slow. Then we're gonna pop all of them in here. Maggie, I want some attention. I want some attention. You want some food? Okay, you get some food. You get some food and some cuddles. I kind of forgot to film, whoops, but I planted some new begonias in here. This is Begonia guguensis, and that is Begonia species China that I planted. My Chloristicta is doing really well. It's making a new leaf. And the Thelmae over the floor is also doing well. It's flowering. And I noticed that there's a baby begonia under here that is also flowering. Amphioxus still going strong. Melanobulata still going strong. And the Julao also has a new leaf. As a safety precaution for the begonias that were planted in there, I took little pieces of it and I planted them in this new prop box situation. So this is an aquarium that I put a bunch of perlite in, a little fan, I switched on the lights, and I have a heat mat underneath. So it's nice and warm in there. It's currently 20 degrees, because from what I understand, begonias do like it quite warm. And you can see here how they're doing now. It is now 10 days since filming, because I realized this when I was editing that I didn't have everything I needed. Maggie is very fascinated as well. She loves the little plants, don't you, Max? Okay, let's look. So we have some tiny begonias in here. This is a baby part of the Begonia guguensis, which you can see the newer leaves are looking adorable again. Older ones are struggling a little bit. This is the Begonia species China. Beautiful. And here is, Maggie keeps wanting attention. Here's a new baby leaf that is very, very beautiful. I love this one so much. And it's quite easy in my experience. This was such a small one that I kept the whole thing in here. This is Dracopelta, which you can see looks really nice. And it has actually plumped up so much since I got it. It looks a lot happier, so that's good. And then here you can see what happened to, I kind of forgot to film a lot of things in this video. This is what happened to the little cryptanthus. I popped it in a soil pot so it's a little bit more moist containing. Let's see if we can recover that. The other ones were added later, so that doesn't count. Lots of alocasias as well. This Hoya elliptica I had in here in a little pot, but it dries out very quickly. And I want to plant it somewhere so that it can just live in there and not in the pot. So we're going to do that next. I think I'm going to plant it in here, in one of those little blobby things. So this one is actually potted into soil, but I'm going to add some moss around it, like so. So it has a little moist thingy. We're going to bring the nylon stuff, and then we're going to go over here. Where shall we pot it? In this corner maybe is nice. I'm just gonna take the fishing wire, whatever you call it, and wrap it around a few times. How? I don't know yet. Just to help it stay in place. This is why I do not film normally the terrarium business, because I don't have hands to spare to film, and mental space as well. Oh no, don't fall again. Don't fall again. Okay, now a way to tie it up. I guess we can go around here. Little knots. Ooh, plenty of knots happening. Okay. That's one. Hopefully that's gonna live and be happy. This little orchid almost died in my other terrarium, but it's finally coming back now in this one. And this has been just lying on here and falling down. So I'm just gonna quickly wrap this around a few times. I'll take the hanging bit out. We'll just tie it up on here. This is a very, very cute orchid. I need more hands. If you want to build a terrarium, you will need more hands than two. Just a quick tip. There we go. Look, the leaves have a beautiful pattern on them. Here you can see it as well. I also planted my Labicia, which I'm a little bit scared about because these are hard to root and grow. They're quite slow, apparently, especially when they are being propagated. But I hope it's going to be happy here in the bottom of the terrarium. There's dust everywhere now because we pulled some stuff out. I'm not quite sure what to put in these yet because the Antheriums cannot go back in because they need some rescue time. So let me know in the comments what you would plant in there and in there and in there. So we have 3 big places with a lot of light and warmth. There's a heat element. Did I show you that yet? No. So I kind of forgot what I already showed you and what I didn't. But I noticed that the temperature in the terrarium was actually quite low. It was like 16 degrees, which is too cold for most plants that I want to keep, especially the Begonias. So I installed this heating element, which is plugged into my hygrostat thermostat thingy, and it's set to always be above 20 degrees and 80% or 75% humidity. It looks like this. It looks like a light bulb basically, but a ceramic one that will put out heat. If you decide to get something like this, make sure that you also get a ceramic bulb thingy that you plug it into, because that can otherwise melt if you have a plastic one. So I got a special one from the shop that I bought it from. And I have a fan right next to it so it doesn't blow and burn Queen Anthurium, but that it actually just creates the warmth throughout the terrarium. You can see it a little bit better from here. So that's the fan aiming right at the heat thing. This is the Queen. It's quite warm up here. And there is the thingy. There you go. So up here, it's quite warm and a lot of light. So I don't know what plants to plant in here. I would love to hear your feedback. For now, I'm going to leave it open. I was thinking to put something like Hoya linearis in there, but they are actually quite cold growing. So I don't know if they will like it in there, but I think it would look cool having something that hangs in there. Something very fancy I actually got in to spray the terrarium. It's so much handier than what I was doing before. Is this, I don't know, pressure sprayer from Gardena. It's very, very handy because this accesses a lot more. I used to use this spray bottle, but then I have to have this hold my hand and this thing and everything very close to where I'm spraying. And now I have this very close to what I'm spraying, so it's very much more accessible to get in all the nooks and crannies, and I really, 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 it's made my life a lot easier. I really like it. It's now 10 days later and I kind of didn't film an ending to that video. Now that I'm editing it, I thought it would be fun to show you an update of the plants before we end. There are some very fun updates to show you. For example, this leaf is now very tall and big. Look at it. Wow. Look how tall that's become. Last time, 10 days ago, it was down here. Now it's up here right next to his big brother. Alfonso is also making a new leaf. Can you see the little point there? Queen Cleo's leaf is really coming out now. It's out of the cataphyll. Very excited to see it unfurl. This is the other cryptanthus, by the way, that looks a lot nicer and happier. It was gonna flower, but then I think I let it dry out too much. Whoops. I haven't put anything in the holes here yet, so I'm still waiting for your recommendations or suggestions. Down here you can see, hopefully, how much the begonias are growing and how well they're doing. They're just a lot plumpier. Is that even a word? This leaf has grown, as you can see, and then I actually said Julao before, but this is a Jiwui. They all sound very similar. And the Guguensis is also making a new leaf, which I think looks just adorable. Look at that. Very pretty. So far, it looks like the Hoya elliptica is okay. This can be quite a tricky Hoya to grow, so I'm happy that it's still okay. And then lastly, down here, Alocasia frydek is making a new leaf. Alocasia cuprea is making a new leaf. I didn't even show you this, but the Siltepecana down here is growing very well. I just want it to attach to the wall a little bit more, so I'll put some sticks in there after filming. This is a Mycans that has attached very nicely. I'm pulling on the leaf right now, but it's attached to the wall, which is exactly what I want. And then lastly, this is my Labicia and it's making a new leaf. Can you see the little point? Yeah. Lastly, an update on the Antheriums that we rescued. This, what was it? Silver blush. And the leaves have hardened a little bit, but it still looks sad. It hasn't got any new growth yet. Here, I don't remember what this was. Maybe the hybrid of Luxurians and Radicans. And here is a new leaf. It's a little bit hard to see because it's very, very small, but it's there. This thingy, I think that was a Villanorum, also looks alive still at least. And the queen, which didn't come out of the terrarium, but it's always fun to see. Little propagation still looks pretty much the same. I think that was it for this box. One of my favorite boxes that I don't ever look at, which is a shame. Speaking of boxes, here's another one with all my Hoya propagations. It will take a little bit more time for these to root and start growing, but in the next building video, we're gonna pop these on the wall in the terrarium. Can you just imagine it? All my most favorite Hoyas. I'm excited. Sneak peek! And that really is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I selected a few more Planty videos if you want to see more about the terrarium build or just watch more Planty content. I got you. If you enjoyed this, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Maybe join my membership, my Patreon or YouTube membership. It's always really, really fun to chat with everyone. And I'll see you again very soon. Bye, friends!